What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video we are going to be building a marketplace using Bubble. And so the idea is that we are going to be building a place where buyers and sellers can meet and sell a certain type of product. In this example, this is going to be a car marketplace. So hypothetically, somebody can go on there, list their cars, and somebody can go on there and buy their cars. So let me show you how I have a structured, how it's going to work together, all the moving pieces, and then we're going to go deep into Bubble and start building it from scratch. All right, so here I have a diagram of how this is going to work. The first thing you want to pay attention to is the views. We have the general view. This is for not logged in users. So somebody who is browsing around, what are they going to see? What are the functionality that's going to be available? Next, we have the buyer view. And this is if you register as a buyer, let's say you saw something that you like, what are the options that's going to be available to you? What are you going to see on your buyer's dashboard? And last but not least, we have the seller's view. And this is what the seller is going to see, what their functionality is going to be, what will they be able to do. And so they're going to have a dashboard of listings. They're going to be able to add a listing. They're going to be able to view a listing, edit a listing, delete a listing. And the buyer is going to log in and well, first of all, they're going to see the homepage. They'll be able to buy a car and they could send an inquiry to the seller, and then the seller might need to approve that inquiry as well. And the general view is going to be basically a list of cars, and you can click on view listing. And beyond that, if you want to send an inquiry or do anything like that, you need to create an account and you need to log in or register as a buyer. Okay. The other thing you want to pay attention to is the data types we're going to have. Now, we might have more data types as we start building this app, but initially we're going to have a user, and this is somebody who's logged in, and this is taken care of by Bubble automatically. And the user is going to have a listing. So if they're buying, they're going to have various, if they're buying multiple cars, they're going to keep track of the listings that they're buying. And also, if they're a seller, if they're on the other side of the equation, they'll be able to sell cars, and they're going to have, various listings of the cars that they're selling. So they can be both. They can buy it and they can sell it. They can do both of them at the same time, or they can do one or the other. Okay, so there's various combinations here. I can be both a buyer and a seller, such as the case if I'm a private dealer maybe, or I can be just a private buyer, or I can be a private seller. Any one of those options is going to work perfectly. And the other thing I wanted to start talking about is when we are building this listing, I wanted to quickly list the states of the listing. And I've come up with the following states. We have the selling, so it's an active listing. We have a listing if it received an inquiry. We have a listing that has a pending payment, so somebody is ready to buy it. Maybe they already sent the money, but it hasn't been confirmed yet. And then we have a listing that has been sold. And then we have a listing that's not selling. Okay, so this listing is not active, and we can modify it as we start building the app. Okay, and so this is kind of what we have so far. And so what we need to do is we're going to start from the data layer. We're going to start building out our data structure. And later on, we are going to start building the views, and then we're going to build the logic to tie the views with the data layer. So all the logic is going to manipulate, whatever we do on the views is going to manipulate the data. Okay, and that's your typical MVC, which is a model view controller framework that you should probably be aware of if you're not yet, because it's very, very prevalent. It's pretty much ubiquitous throughout this kind of things, okay? And so let's go in. I started a brand new app. This is a brand new app. We just have a header. That's about all we have. And we're going to go into our data, and we are going to start building our data types, okay? And so we have a user here, and this is all built-in fields, okay? So we're going to create a new field, and this field is going to be buy, okay? And this is going to be, well, actually, before we do that, we need to create the listing field, okay? Because that is the data type that we're going to be tying back to the user. And this is the new type listing. We're going to click create, and now we have the listing type. And so this is essentially what the listing is going to have. So let's think about some things it's going to have. It's going to have a name of the listing, so the actual name. And this is going to be a text field. Okay, we're gonna do that. Next is gonna be a description. So this is also a text field here. Next, we are gonna have some statistics about the car, the car in question, okay? And so this is gonna be a brand. It's gonna have a text field. We're gonna have the model, also a text field. Maybe miles or kilometers. I'm just gonna put miles. And that's gonna be a number, meaning like how many miles does the car have? We have that. What else do we have? Next, we are gonna have the type of listing. Remember, the listing can have various states. And before we do that, of course, we can create a type like this, or status. Actually, it's gonna be called status, and we could just make it a text field. But there's a better way of doing it. If you go into option sets, we're gonna create an option set for a status. And what is an option set? Well, an option set is really it's an array. It's essentially an array of different options, okay? And an option set is one of them. So you can create multiple option sets that represent different things, okay? And so we're gonna create an option set called status. We're gonna click create, and here you have attributes. We're not gonna mess with it right now because it's not required right now. And then we're gonna create a bunch of options. So if we go back to this diagram, we have selling, inquiry, pending payment, sold, and not selling. So let's go and create those. We're going to do selling, inquiry, pending payment. Then we're going to have, what is that? Sold and not selling. Sold and not selling. Okay, and so this essentially defines the status. Okay, the status needs to be one of these fields, and that makes it a lot easier and kind of keeps things very tight when we are building our data types. Okay, so we have the listings. We're going to create a new field, and this is going to be called status, okay? And the field type, if you scroll down, you're going to see status. Now, one thing I want to do is I want to go back to our option sets, and I want to put it into a capital. So I want it to be with the capital. That way I know that this is an actual data type. It's not a simple data type. It's a data structure. Because this is a data structure, it's not like text or something. And that way, when you go back and create a new field, so if I do status, when I choose it here, it's going to be capital, just like the user with the capital U, capital S. So we're going to create. And that way, when we are, manipulating the listing, it's going to be easier because we can just manipulate the different statuses from the option set. Okay, so what do we have so far? We have name, description, we have the brand, miles, model. Okay, so, and then we need the image as well. So we're gonna put image, and then we are gonna go here. This is an image in case they wanna upload, an image for the car. Okay, we need the image, and that's enough to get started. And so when we start building it, maybe if you remember another field, we can go out and set it up very, very quickly. Okay, so we have the listing. Next, the user. So the user is going to have listings that they're possibly buying and listings that they're possibly selling. And this might be one or more. They're not just limited to one, right? This could be one or more, okay? And so you want to create a new field, and this is going to be buying. I'm just going to call it buy. And this is going to be a listing here, and we're going to say multiple entries. And same thing for sell. Okay, we're going to go here. We're going to go to listing and multiple entries. And that way it's easy to track what a specific user is doing. Is this user a seller? Great. They're going to have multiple listings in this sell field. Is this user buying multiple cars? Perhaps. Maybe they're buying for a whole family, or maybe they're expanding their car, car garage, and they want to have multiple cars. Then they're going to have a multiple listings of buys, or maybe they're just going to have sell or buys. So it's really up to them. And so this is the user here. And for now, this is fine. Okay, so we just created our just two basic data types just to get things started. And we are ready to go out and create the actual views, the things that people are going to see. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to create the dashboard. I always start, from left to right. This is kind of why I designed it like this. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a dashboard that's going to display a list of cars. And then we're going to have a view detail, okay? So they can go out and view. Now, this list of cars is not gonna come from anywhere. It's gonna come from sellers. Okay, it's gonna come from sellers. So keep that in mind. It's not stuff that's just there. Somebody needs to put there. So it's gonna go from the sellers from the seller accounts. Okay, so let's try this. So let's go in. So let's drag a repeating group here. So we're gonna do that here. We're gonna drag it. We're gonna select it, drag it here. Double click it. I'm gonna make it, I don't know, 8 rows or something. Just make it a little bit tighter, maybe even 10 rows, probably a good number. So we have 10 here. Next is we are gonna put type of content is gonna be a listing. All right, and the next thing that we need to do is we need to create our columns, and we do that by dragging the text field. Now you do not want to drag it on the line here, because if you do that, it's gonna think that this is actually part of the data that we're getting. This is simply a header field. Okay, so we're gonna click here, and we are gonna call it the name. Okay, so let's think about what kind of fields we want to display. We're gonna have this as a name field, okay, and we are gonna have this is the name of the listing, or it could be the brand. Well, let's just call it a name and see how that goes. Maybe we'll add new columns later on. This is going to be a description of the listing and maybe a picture as well. So we're going to drag another one, and this is going to be a picture right here. We're going to double click, image, and let's align them. And then last but not least is we're going to have so we're going to have some call of action here, call to action actually. And what we're going to do is, so maybe they want to buy it, okay? Maybe the action is going to be to buy it. And remember, this is the front page. This is what people are going to see when they're just logging in. So let's drag a button here, and actually let's do this. Let's leave that alone. Okay, let's just arrange it nicely. And let's create this data type. Let's create this repeating group here. So let's drag the first field. And this is the beginning of our dynamic fields. And if we do that, so we want to send that back so we can edit these fields. And so this is the name. We're going to pick name here. And we are going to say, okay, we're going to do the same for the description as well. We're going to drag that there. And we're going to do the same thing for the image as well. And we are going to change this to description. Okay. Description here, and this is gonna be the image. So we are gonna, let's go into our elements tree here, and we are going to select this, and we are gonna drag it correctly so it looks like it's part of the repeating group. We're gonna double click on it, and we are gonna change this to image here. Okay, so now our repeating group is set up there. It's basically loading all the data from the listings. It's going to display all the listings, all the active listings, actually. Remember, these are only the active listings, actually. And so let's see if that works. So if we go into data, and we're going to create some sample data, we're going to go into listings, and we're going to click on new entry. And we're going to create a new listing. So let's say this is BMW. Model is M3, miles 20,000 miles, status is selling, description is great car, slug we don't need, name is BMW M3 for sale, and we are gonna do that. And the image, let's go and find an image somewhere. Let's go to unsplash.com and find an image of a BMW. So here's a BMW, let's get an M3. Okay, so how about this one? We can use this one. We just save the image. Okay, and then we said we upload the image here, and let's see if it's displaying properly. All right, now we click on create, and the entry was successfully created. We got it. So we have one entry that is here, and we need to tie this entry to us now. It needs to be tied to the user, but right now that is not important because it doesn't really matter who it's tied to. It is an active listing, so that's perfect enough. So let's see if if this listing is actually showing up right now. As you can see, it's showing up right now, except the image is not showing up properly, but we're gonna fix that later. And so this is the beginning. One thing I want to change is I don't want to make it a body copy. I want to make it maybe a heading, or actually a dark. Let's do that. H2 dark. So it stands apart a little bit. H2 dark here. I'm going to drag it up a little bit. Okay, so this is kind of what we have so far. So this is the problem. I had it wrong here. This should be an image. That is why it wasn't showing up properly. Let's drag an image. Actually, it should be an image like this. So we're gonna go in here. We're gonna drag it here. We're gonna bring it front. Arrange. Bring to front so we can play with it. And now we have an image here. Okay? And so let's make it a little bit longer. That way it expands it. And let's go to this image here. And we are going to make it something like this. And now it's a dynamic image. Insert dynamic data. It's going to do a repeating group listing. It's going to do list of listings. It's going to get the image. Okay, and we have that there. Okay, so now let's see if it's showing up correctly. And now we have the image showing up correctly. Obviously, it's a little bit on the small side. Let's see if we can make it a little bit bigger. So we do that. Let's make it 5. Okay, there we go. And let's expand the image. Let's make it something like this. Just a bit bigger. And the other thing I want to do is I want to change the names of these fields. Okay, so this is actually a listing name. We're gonna do that. This is actually a listing description. I'm gonna call. Okay, now our dashboard is working perfectly. The only thing we need to do is we need to make sure that it's only showing listings that are active, that are not inactive. Okay, listings that are only active. Okay, and we do that by coming in here, and you want to basically do something like this. You want to click here and you want to do a search, and you want to do listing, and you want to add a constraint. You want to put status equals to active, selling. That is the ones we want, not selling, inquiry. So I'm just going to put selling. That is the only listings that I want. So we have a constraint there. And then what we want is the name. Search for listings. There's going to be the name. The name. Okay? That's what we want. And we want the same thing for this as well. So we're going to do a search for. We want listing, add a constraint. This is going to be status equals to. Actually, let's do it another way. So if we click on the repeating group, we can do search for listings, and we can add a constraint on the whole repeating group. Okay, and so we are going to put status equals to selling. Okay, that is the only thing we care about. And we are going to place these backs. We're going to put these how they were before, clear. We're going to put insert dynamic data, current sales listing name. This is going to be current sales listing description. And this is going to be current sales listing image. Okay, so it's all nice. We are getting only the active listings. Okay, and so this is pretty much complete. Let's run and see if it's actually showing what we wanted to show. Okay, so if we play it, if we preview it, it's showing it correctly. Let's see if it's actually doing it what we want. Let's go back to data and let's modify the status of this. Okay, let's click on the status. Let's click on this and let's modify it. So it's selling. Let's say it's not selling, and let's see if it's working. If it should not be displayed anymore. And if we go into preview, we should not see it. Okay, there it is. It's perfect. And so, yeah, we should say something like no listings fine. But typically, there's going to be listings that are going to be displayed at one point or another. So let's go back and change this to how it was before. This is selling. They're still selling this car. So this is still selling. We're going to do that here. And so this is correct now. The next thing that we want to do is we want to add a buy button. Okay, we want to add a buy button. We're going to click on buy here. We're going to click on the button here. We're going to expand this a little bit. And we are going to get to see if they want to buy it. Okay, we're going to put it here. And this is going to be the buy button. And we're going to call it buy car. Okay. And this is going to essentially get the user to log in, create an account, and this is going to redirect them to another screen where they're going to mark the car as sent an inquiry, and it's going to appear on the seller side as a car that's somebody has an interest in, and then they can work things out from then on. So we're going to fix this here. We have that. So right now the preview is done. Oh, the other thing we need to do is we need a detail. We want to add a detail page as well. So we're going to drop another button here. We're going to call it more info. More info, something like this. And they can learn more about the car and they can buy it right away. And this more info is going to take them to the detail page, which is going to have a little bit more information because we can't list all the description, and probably we shouldn't be listing the description here because description is going to be typically very long. It's going to be like a paragraph in some cases. So you typically don't want to list it here. You want to list the name. So what you want, and this is something we're going to do later on in the app, is you want the name, you want the brand, and the model. Okay, that's kind of what you want. Actually, let's fix that right now. So we want the name, we want the brand. Let's click here, appearance, brand, and we want the model. So I'm going to copy and paste this real quick. And we want the model. Just something very quick. Brand and model. So BMW M3. We're going to copy and paste this here. And this is going to be not a description. This is going to be model. And this is going to be a brand here. Very easy. Brand. Okay. So that's what we have so far. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so we have name, brand, and model, which I think is ideal for what we're trying to do here. We can even expand it a little bit, and we can move maybe the image here a little bit. Then we can make this a little bit longer. So we have name, brand, and model, and we have an image. We can make this a little bit, something like this. Make the image. Okay, and that's kind of perfect for what we're looking for. The next thing we want to do is we want to create the detail page. Okay, here's the detail, the view listing page, and we're gonna go in here. We are gonna go and add a new page, and this is gonna be a detail. Okay, we're gonna do that. We're not gonna clone it from anything. We are gonna create it from scratch. We are gonna add our header here to the top. Okay, we have the header, and then we're gonna have the detail page. So we're gonna add a text field here. Text field. And we are gonna have just sample stuff. We are gonna have the name of the listing. Actually, the name might be even as the title. I think that's a much better approach. So we're going to actually make it as the title. We're going to make it H1 dark. Okay, this is the name here. We're going to center it horizontally. And then we're going to have, let's see, what are we going to have? We are going to have the brand. We're going to have the model. We are going to have the miles. We're going to have the picture. So brand, model, picture, miles, picture, and then a description. And then a description here. Okay, something very, very simple. And so the brand is going to be another field here. We're going to put it here. We're going to put the model here, the miles here. The picture is going to be obviously different. The picture is going to be an image. We're going to do that here. Actually, let's swap these. Let's put a picture on the bottom and the description here. That way we have more room for the picture. And we're going to drag this a little bit lower. Okay, and we have a picture here. Okay, we can make it even bigger. And for the description, we want a text field. That's fine. We're just going to make it a little bit bigger. Just going to make it a little bit bigger, something like this. And then we're gonna fix the fields. Before we do that, we want to make sure we're passing the correct fields properly. And so for this, we're not gonna say anything. We're not gonna say name. This is gonna be all dynamic data. Okay, so we can actually do dynamic data. But before we do that, we want to make sure we're passing the fields correctly. And for that, we are gonna go back to the dashboard, and we're gonna click on more info, and we're gonna start a workflow. And this workflow is going to do navigation, go to page, and the page is going to be detail. And data to send is going to be current sales listing. Very easy. And so detailed content is not set. We need to set the content for the detail page. We're going to do that here. We're going to double click on the page, and we are going to go to the type of content. It's listing. Yeah, it's set correctly. And so we are going to go back to our index, go to workflow, more info. We are going to do that, and we're going to go to this step here, and current sales listing. That's perfect. Okay, so yeah, it's telling us that we're going to do that right now. And so it's passing the data correctly, and now we have to display this data that we are passed through. And so this is going to be dynamic data. And what is this going to be? This is going to be current page listing brand. Okay, this is going to be current page listing model. This is going to be current page listing miles. This is going to be current page listing description. This is going to be the picture, dynamic image, current page listing image. And now we see it. And now what else do we need? So we have this, we have that. We need a call to action. And the call to action is going to be buy or maybe go back. So we're going to drag a button here. And this is going to be another buy button here. And we are going to horizontally center it. We have this. And then we are going to go back to, we're going to add another button. Or maybe just leave one button for now. This is going to be buy car. Okay, and that's all we've done. Now, when they buy it, what is the action? What is the flow? And the flow is going to be very, very simple. It's going to change the status of the listing. That is all. So we have all these settings. It's going to change it to inquiry. And that way, on the seller side, they're going to see that they're going to see all these listings that have a status of inquiry. Okay, so we're going to go back. We're going to go back to the app, and we are going to go in here. And this is the simplest workflow ever. Start edit workflow, and it's going to do a data, make changes to a thing. Thing to change is current page listing, and we are going to do change another field. This is going to be a status is set to inquiry. Okay, so when they click buy, it takes it away from the main dashboard, and it lets the seller know that somebody is interested in it. And that's all we have to do. And it's also going to display something on the buyer's dashboard. They're going to see the cars that they've made an inquiry in, and they can possibly even change that inquiry or cancel their interest, cancel the inquiry as well. And so very, very simple. So we are going to go in here. We are going to go to the index, and we're going to do the same thing to this buy car. It's going to start an edit workflow. We are going to do change things, make a change to a thing. Thing to change is current sales listing. We're going to put status. Status is going to be inquiry. And then we are also gonna actually let them know. So for instance, we're gonna do something like this, where we are gonna display a little pop-up or a little alerts that so they know that something did happen, okay? And so we're gonna go and find an alert to display. We're gonna go in here, we're gonna drag this alert, and we're gonna display it here on top, somewhere around here. And this is gonna be, we're gonna center it horizontally. And this alert, I'm just gonna call it alert main, or like alert main or something like this. And that way we can reference this very easily, okay? So we have this, it's not being clipped by anything, okay? And then when we are doing the workflow, whenever so for this, in this case, if we click on buy a car, we're gonna have an alert. And the same thing is gonna happen at the detail page as well. So for instance, if we go in here, we're gonna go start edit workflow, make changes to thing, and then it's gonna change the alert. So we are gonna go into element actions, and we are gonna go display show element, okay? And this is gonna be this main alert. So we're gonna go in here. We have it as a pop-up. Let's go back to the design. What do we have it called? Alert main. And this is here, alert main. Alert main text image. Okay, so we're gonna go back into workflow. We are gonna do a element action. And what we wanna do is we wanna show a message in the alert main. And that's what they are for. That's what the alerts are for. We're gonna delete this. So make changes to a thing and then show the message in the alert. And the alert is gonna have a message. So we're gonna go in here, and the alert is gonna say, actually, let's go back to the workflow for a second. Alert main, element, change alert. So we can change the message. Okay, so we can change the message. And the message is gonna be, your request, buy inquiry has been forwarded to the seller. So that is what we have right now, and we can preview. Let's see if things are working the way we want them to. Okay, so we have this thing here, we have this, we can click on more info. Let's see, and this is more info. It's not displaying this, which I'm gonna fix in a second, but if we click on buy car, it should specify an alert. So let's go back, we're gonna fix that in a second, and we click buy car, and it says that the buy inquiry has been forwarded to the seller, and this has disappeared. It's no longer available. Now, this is an interesting thing. Actually, come to think of it, it's probably a good idea to have it go through 2 steps. And it's actually up to you. In this case, we're going to take it off the market whenever somebody sent a buy inquiry. But I think later on, a much better strategy would be to have be taken off the market whenever the payment has been confirmed. So later on, you can make that change. So let's go and fix our detail page real quick. Okay, let's go fix our detail page because we forgot to specify this. And this is gonna appear, this is going to be dynamic data. And it's gonna do current page listing is the name of the listing, okay? And so we're gonna make it just a little bit bigger. We can even make it like, really stretch it out and center it. And this is already centered horizontally. We can have something like this. And now if we go to the index and we preview it, it should show it up perfectly now. So before we do that, I want to change the listing back to selling so that it actually appears correctly, since we tested that functionality and it is working. So we're going to preview it. And so here it is. If we click on more info, we're going to see BMW 3 for sale and some information, and we can buy the car right here, okay? So this is working perfectly, and now we can continue to build this app. And so now that we have these pieces working, let's continue building the app starting from the login section, okay? And before we do that, you need to understand how the login part actually works so that you can implement it properly. Because at the end of the day, we need the login to work because we need to show the buyer's dashboard and the seller's dashboard, and they're going to have to be logged in order to see that. Anonymous users won't be able to see that. And what you can do is you can go to page, choose our header here. And this will allow you to see all the elements on the header. So if you double click on this, on the button, you can go to the conditional, okay? And the conditional tells you that when the current user is logged in, show log out. So the default state is this one that we're seeing now. But if they're logged in, this is gonna go to log out, okay? A couple of other things, if you go to the start and edit workflow, there are 3 workflows here. You can ignore this one. This is only when they're clicking on the main image in the header, and that basically redirects them to the index page, okay? Very, very simple. And actually, we need to change the image too, which we're gonna do in a minute. But if you check this workflow, they're the same workflows. Actually, they're the opposite workflows, but they act on the same button. So it says here, button sign up or login is clicked and current user is logged in and current user isn't logged in. So when they're logged in, it essentially logs the user out because the button basically tells them that it says to log out. And this one logs them in. So if they aren't logged in, this is what the button is displaying. Sign up or login. It shows the sign up or login. It shows this thing. And this is exactly how it works. So if we go to the index page and we click on, we preview our app, you will see that this is indeed the case. And so here we are. So right now we're not logged in. We're logged out and it says to log in. We click on this and we can actually log in. We can sign up or log in. And this is taking care of Bubble. And we can log in easily. And once we log in, this button is going to say log out and the state is going to be logged in. Now the app knows that we're logged in and then it can do various things. And so what we want to do now is we want to build various dashboard pages. And I recommend for the sake of the simplicity, we just do it as one page. And that one page is going to have their buyer's dashboard and their seller's dashboard as well. And so we're going to do that right now. We're going to click on index, add a new page, and we're going to call it dashboard. Okay, it's going to be dashboard. We're going to start from scratch. And we're going to build it right from the beginning. And so we want to go to design. We want to put a header in there. Okay, we're going to drag this header here. We're going to put it up on top, fix it up a little bit. Now we have the header. And now we're going to build the dashboard. And it really depends how you're building some apps. Some apps in the wild, they have a separate dashboard. They have a buyer's dashboard and a seller's dashboard. You can build it as one. I think, if you want to keep it simple, this could behave as one page here. And so we're going to put a text here and we are going to center it, center horizontally, and we are also going to change the style. And the style, we're going to make heading dark. Yeah, H2 is good, or yeah, H2 is fine. We're going to copy and paste it on the bottom. So we're going to leave it here. We're going to copy and paste the copy and paste it. We're going to expand this window here. And so this is going to be the buyer's dashboard here. And this is going to be the seller's dashboard. And so what's going to happen is the way I envision this app working is that in the buyer's dashboard, it's going to list all the listings or all the cars essentially that they have expressed interest. They basically clicked on the button and they send it for inquiry. They sent an inquiry. And then the seller's dashboard, these are the cars that the user is selling. Okay, they're going to have, they're going to be the listings where the seller is the user that's assigned to the listing. And same thing for the buyers. These are going to be the listings where they have the inquiry tag and they are assigned to this specific buyer. Because we cannot, if you log in and you see all the listings that were sent for inquiry, it's not going to work. There needs to be security. They need to be assigned to the specific user. Okay, so we are going to go and put this the first repeating group here. And let's drag it a little bit lower here. We're going to expand this repeating group here. And we're going to do this. And we're going to put... So we have it here. I'm going to put 5 rows just to make it a nice even number, if you will. Not really even, but 5 is a nice round number. And then we're going to copy and paste this on the bottom. Okay. And so when we are creating this dashboard, remember, we actually set up the user here. So if we go to the data, we have a user and they have cars that they're interested in. They're making buyer inquiries and cars that they're possibly selling too. And this could be multiple cars. One user can be transacting on both sides of the table. They can both be buying cars and selling cars. So if we go to our design, what we want to do is we want to have the type of content listing, but the data source is going to be current user buy. Okay? That is because the current user buy is essentially an array of listings. And the same thing for the seller's dashboard. We're going to have a content type of listing. And when they click on it, it's going to be current user sell. Okay, and it's all configured correctly. Now, we're pretty much done. Now, because we are storing the actual cars on the user's data type in the user itself, it makes it very easy. We don't need to go out and we don't need to search the listings by user type or anything like that. It simplifies things a lot. We just need to make sure that whenever a listing came in, we just need to make sure that whenever a listing is started, whenever we are actually starting the listing, whenever somebody lists a car for sale, it needs to be assigned to the user. So when they create the car, if we go into our index, we need to create actually add listing for sale and all of that. So in order to do that, we're going to have a seller's dashboard here and we're going to have more features here. So if we go in here, let's make it a little bit longer. Let's expand it a little bit. And so we have a seller's dashboard. And we're going to add a feature. We're going to add a button. And this button is going to be add a new listing. Okay? So they want to sell a new car. They have a car. Add new listing. Okay? We have a seller's dashboard. And this is where they're going to go out. They're going to have, they're going to create a new listing. And that listing is not only, it's also going to be in the listing as well, but it's also going to be assigned to them so that we can see it on the dashboard. Okay? So we're going to do this right now. We do not have an add new car, so we're going to create this page now. Add new car. We are actually going to clone it from the detail page. So this is going to be add listing. We're going to make it like this. And we're going to clone it from the detail here. Okay, we're going to create it. And so here we have it. So this is current listing's name. This is not a dynamic field anymore. So we need to say add new listing. Okay, we have it here. Now the brand is also not going to be, these are all going to be input fields now. Okay, so we're going to drag an input field. We're going to drag it here. And remember, the input field, we should always label it correctly because we're going to be using the data. I don't really care what these fields are called because once I set them, I forget them. But for the input fields, you want to label them somehow. So I'm going to call this input-brand. Okay, makes sense, right? And so we're going to delete all of these. We are going to delete them here. We're going to select and we are going to delete. We're going to delete them one by one here. And we're going to drag and drop new fields. So this is the input field here. Actually, let's copy and paste this one. Copy. It's a lot easier. Copy and paste. And the description. So all of these are input fields except the picture, which is going to be a picture uploader here. Okay. And obviously, you can have more pictures. You can have multiple pictures. If this was a truly real car marketplace, you would have multiple pictures, and that's absolutely fine. You can do that as well. You can upload multiple pictures depending on how you do it, and so that's fine. But for the purpose of this tutorial, we're only going to have one picture uploading. So we have the brand, input brand. We're going to have, this is going to be input model. This is going to be input miles. Content format is going to be an integer. This is going to be description. Let's make it a little bit bigger here. Something like this. This is going to be input desk. This is how I always abbreviate description, DESC, desk. And then this is input picture. Input picture or input image. Let's just keep it as image. I think I've used that before. Okay, so now we have the basic stuff. I think this is all. Let's take a look at our data, see if I'm not missing anything. Brand, description, image, model, name, status. So status, we're gonna set ourselves. We forgot name, I believe. So we're gonna go, yeah, we don't have name here. So we're gonna put, because we need the name of the listing. Okay, so we're gonna select all this, drag it a little bit lower here. And we are gonna make it as the first. Or, you know, you could put it just below. I want the name and description to be together because they're kind of logically the same thing. They're user defined, so we're gonna have it here. Just gonna fix it up a little bit, and this is going to be the name. Maybe you want to make it first, it's up to you. Name here, and this is going to be input name. All right, let's see if it's aligned nicely. Okay, let's fix this up. All right, so now we have brand, model, miles, name in the description, okay? And so they can insert the stuff, brand. So actually, yeah, brand, model, miles, name, description. And then we also have the status, which is kind of a hidden field that we're going to be working with, which we are going to be modifying ourselves. We need to change this to add listing and button add listing. And that's pretty much it. Now we can set up our workflow. And so this workflow, make changes to listing. No, we're going to add a new one. We are going to delete this one. We're going to create a new one. This is going to say data of things, create new thing. We're going to create a new listing. And we are going to set fields. Okay, we're going to set fields. So the brand is equal to input brand's value. The description is equal to input description value. The image, same thing, input image value. And then we have, what else? We have miles, input miles value. Then we have model, inputs model value. Then we have name, input name value. And last but not least, or definitely not last, and is the, actually we have the description. Okay, so we have everything, right? Name. Now we just need to set the status, and the status is gonna be selling because now we have set it to selling. The next thing we want to do is we created a new listing, but we also need to add it to the sellers. Okay, so what we want to do is make changes to a thing. We are going to change our user, current user. We're going to go click and we are going to sell and we're going to add this result of step 1. Okay, because we just created a listing. This is why I like Bubble. It's very intuitive. You don't have to code all of this. It's going to be a little more complex to code all of this. So when we add a listing, we create new listing, make changes to user, and then we can redirect them to their dashboard. Okay, so we are gonna navigation, go to page, and the page is dashboard. Okay, and that's it. We don't need to send any data because the dashboard is gonna pull data by itself. So let's see if this is working. Let's go to let's try the flow, and actually we can try this flow here. All right, so now I'm logged in. The button is a little bit off. We're gonna fix that in a second. And now when we create this listing, it's going to be associated with our account correctly. And so we're going to put the brand is going to be BMW. We're going to put M4 miles, let's say 15,000 miles. Name, great. BMW for sale. Description, awesome. BMW for sale. Buy it today. And the image, I'm going to upload an image. Images Unsplash. I'm going to go to Unsplash, and we're going to find a BMW image to upload. So here's a BMW. We can save it here. Okay, and here's that nice BMW for sale. Also, we can add another field color, but you get the picture. I think we're missing a color. We're probably missing a couple of other fields, but I don't think it's that important. So we're going to click on Add Listing, and what do we have? It's gonna go back and it should display it here. Let's take a look why it's not displaying. We're gonna go to data. We're gonna go to app data, listings. So here's that awesome BMW for sale. It's listing and it's not. Let's take a look. So we have the unique ID for this. This is correct. It's selling. Let's check the status. The status is selling. So that should be set correctly. And we have it here set up. Let's take a look. It's why is not showing here. Let's edit this field real quick. We're going to go to the dashboard. We're going to take a look. Current users sell. Yeah, that's fine. Current users sell. Okay, so it is here, but we forgot the most important thing. We forgot to actually set up the fields here. And that's very important. All right, so let's set up the column rows real quick. So we need the text column row. This is going to be this is going to be the model. The model, actually, this is going to be the brand. We're going to put the model here. And this is going to, we're going to copy, and then we're going to put miles here. Just something simple. We're going to put miles. We're going to put miles here. And now we actually need to put the actual field. So it's pulling up the data. Because it's loading correctly the information. It's just not displaying it because we haven't actually put the fields in there. Okay, so we're going to put this here. We're going to put here. And we're going to put this field here. And now we're going to pull the data. And we are going to put insert dynamic variables, current sales listing brand. This is going to be current sales listing model. This is going to be current sale listing miles. Okay, that's it. And now it should work because we're doing the right thing. And while we are at it, we want to do the same thing for the buyers because we're going to have the same issue. So we're going to drag and drop it here. Just going to align it with the other one. Okay, we're going to do that here. And we're going to do the same thing here. We are going to drag this field here. Okay. And this is going to be current sales listing. Yeah, exactly. This is exactly right. We don't even need to modify it because these are different listings. Remember, these are now the buyer's listings and these are the seller's listings. So everything inside is going to be the same. It's just the actual data that's pulled up is from the buyers and the sellers. Okay, so now we have it correctly. The other thing I want to do is I want to add a couple of buttons here. And so the buttons is going to be, so for the sellers, maybe they want to take it off the market. Maybe they want to edit. So there's a lot of things that you can do. And let's just say we want to edit. So one button could be edit, and we're going to make it smaller because edit is not. We're going to make it edit, and then I'm going to make it smaller. And then we're going to add another one that's going to take it off the market. Okay, and you could add multiple values, multiple options. Judging by how I do it here, and remove off market, something like this. And so the other thing that we need to do is we need the status in there. Okay, so remember, they are the seller and they need to see what's going on. So we're gonna drag this here and we are gonna put a status. Okay, very important. As a seller, they need to see where the car at. Are people making offers? Is this on sale? Is this not on sale? So I'm gonna put that here. And I'm also going to expand this a little bit, just running out of room. And we are going to put this here. We're also going to expand this as well. Okay. And now we have a lot more interesting things. And we want to send this back. Send to back. And now we can reach this. And so, yeah, so we can actually do remove from market. Okay. Remove. Off market, something like this. Very simple. Let's make it a little bit longer. Okay. And so this is going to be the status. So we're going to put status. And this is going to say status. It's going to say status here, status display. So remember, status is actually an option set. And one of the attributes is that in that option set is a display attribute. And that is essentially the text. It's essentially the displayable value, the readable value of that option set. And so we're going to go in here. We're going to expand it just a bit. And it's going to display the status. And we're going to do the same thing for the buyers because they are making offers. They want to see, okay, I made an offer for this BMW. Is this, something going to happen? Is the buyer interested in selling it? Did the buyer act on it or not? Okay. So we're going to do this. We are going to, let's see. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to fix it up a little bit. And that is all we have. And the same thing, so they're buying, they cannot edit it, obviously, because they do not own it. But what can they do? They can cancel the request. So here we can take it off market. And the buyer can, what can they do? They can remove it. So I'll expand this a little bit. Okay, and they can, maybe they don't want to buy it anymore. So this is cancel. Cancel. I'm just going to put cancel, but just for this simplicity's sake here, cancel. And that's going to change it from inquiry to back to selling, okay? And so we have the buyer's dashboard. We have a status display. Everything is nicely set up. Let's make it a little bit longer here. Okay. All right, so now that is fine. Let's fix it up a little bit. Select horizontally. Center horizontally, center horizontally. We have this here. We have this as well. Okay. Let's actually center this as well. Center horizontally. We have brand. Actually, this. Why we have too many brands? Okay, we need to fix that. Brand, model, mile, status. Let's center horizontally here. Okay, just to fix it up a little bit. And I'm not gonna be messing too much with the design because that is, I guess, a topic for another video. I just want to show you how to make it work because design is a very subjective thing. And that really depends on, on what you want to do. So we have brand, this should be model. This should be miles. This should be status. So we're gonna align it here. We have model. Brand, model, miles, status. Okay. Brand, miles. Brand, model, miles, status. Now we need to fix the actual data. And so let's take a look. This should be model. This should be miles. This should be status. And it's already there. All right. So now we have both the buyer's dashboard and the seller's dashboard. Let's fix this up a little bit. Center horizontal. It's already centered. So let's center this. Okay. Yeah, it looks good. Let's fix that. Center horizontally. All right. So for the buyer, they are making requests off the main site. Okay, they're making inquiries. Okay, they can only cancel it. On the seller's side, they can edit the listing, they can take it off market, they can delete it. There's so many things that they can do. And maybe later on I'll add some of the options. But right now I want to show you the main flow, okay? And so when they click on edit, we do not actually have that page. We have a detail page, but we don't have an edit listing page. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new page. We're going to go here, add a new page. This is going to be edit listing. And we're going to clone it from add listing. We're going to create this page. And here we have an edit listing. This is now edit listing. So when the add listing, we are not going to be doing anything. So we need to make changes. We don't need to make changes to user because we're editing it. We need to make changes to the listing. So we are going to go in here. So we're going to delete this actually. And we're going to delete all of this actually. And we're going to say, so this is actually, let's take a look. So this is not add new listing. This is now edit listing. Edit listing. Okay, all of this is going to get filled out. And it's going to say edit. Edit listing. Okay, now let's go to the workflows. And the workflow is edit listing. It's just going to modify the listing with the elements. So we're going to go into data, make changes to thing. Thing to change is going to be current page listing. And then we have all the fields, okay? And so we need to actually set the brand to the input brand. Input brand value. We are going to set the description to the input description. Input description value. We are going to set the image to input, let's see, input image value. Then we have miles is going to say input miles value. Then we have name, inputs name value. And then we have status. So the status, they're not going to be changing the status here. Because I think this field is only going to be for the description. The status is going to be changed in other ways. So the status is going to remain. They can change it in other ways. Or it really depends how we're going to do it. Now we need to pass the data here. Okay, so we are going to go back to dashboard. And when they click on edit, we need to make sure we're actually passing this data. So it's going to go to page detail. And we need to send the data. And this is going to be current sales listing. Okay, and so we're having an issue. Let's see. Remember to fill out the key. Okay. We're going to delete this actually because we don't need that key. And now we have the edit listing set up. So if we go to the dashboard, we're going to have the edit listing. But remember, we want to redirect them. We want to always redirect them. Actually, when we click on, so we have edit listing. If we click on this, start edit workflow, make changes to thing, and we want the navigation to go to dashboard. Dashboard is their, the number one thing. We're not passing any data. We want to go to dashboard. So if we go to index, let's go to index. Actually, let's go to dashboard. That's kind of what we're working at. And let's load this up. Let's see how it's working. And what do we have now? We have a listing. We have a listing here. We can edit it. We're going to click on edit. It's going to display it. And we forgot to make these fields editable. Okay, so we need to do that right now because we made a copy of it. So we need to make sure that it's editable. We're gonna go here. We're gonna click on edit, start edit workflow. Go to page detail. It's gonna be page edit listing. Okay, data to send. Okay, so they were editable. We were just not sending them to the right page. And now. So we're going to put in the initial fields now. All right, so all we have to do is current page listings is going to be the brand. We have it here. This is going to be initial content, current page listings model. Here it's going to be miles. Current page listing miles. This is going to be the name. This is going to be the description here. Current page listing description. And this is going to be the picture. Dynamic image. Current page listing description. All right, so now we're good to go. We can click on edit listing, start an edit workflow. We have that done. Make changes, go to page dashboard. We have that done. Let's see if that's working. Let's go to dashboard. Let's preview it and see if it is working correctly. So we're going to go to edit and it filled it in correctly. Okay, so we have it all set up. And so for the picture, there's a little bit of a different flow. Is that we can display the existing picture, but in order to modify it, we need a picture uploading. So we're going to have something like this. And then if they want to modify it, we can essentially, so we can display an existing picture. And then if they want to modify the picture, we actually need a different field. And this is going to be this picture uploader. Okay. And so this is going to be a little bit different. So if we expand that, you're gonna see this existing picture, and this is the display image, and this is going to display their image right now. So we're gonna go in dynamic data. This is gonna be current page listings image, and this is gonna display their image. But if they want to change it, they need to upload it. Okay, this is how it works. Or they can upload it right now if that's what they want. So this is change image, upload new image. We're gonna have something here. Upload new image, or replace. And then we're gonna have the picture uploader here, and this is going to be input image. We have it set up here, and then they can upload a new image here if that's what they want to do. And so if we set it to input image is valid, we want to modify it here. So now we're modifying it, and here input image is not valid. Okay, we're gonna change this. We're gonna click on this, change it to not valid. Isn't valid. Isn't valid. That means we do not want to modify it. We did not input the image. We're not going to be modifying the image. And so let's see if this works. We're going to go to dashboard. We're going to go into preview. And now we have the image here. We're going to click on edit listing. And now we have the image set up. So if we go to edit here, we have the image here. And now that image is showing up properly. Okay, so this now works. So what do we have? Let's go back to our dashboard. We're going to go back to dashboard. We're going to click on preview. We have the cars here. We can take it off the market. Let's do that right now. This is going to be very simple to do. It's going to be a quick workflow. So when the off market button is clicked, we are going to change data, make changes to thing. We're going to change the current sales listing. Current sales listing is going to be status. Status is going to be not selling. Not selling. That's all we have to do. So if you do that, we are done. So if we go back to our edit page, are we displaying the status? We are displaying the status. All right, so let's preview this and let's see if that's working. Oh, we forgot. We need to redirect them to the dashboard. And so this is selling. We're going to click on off market. Now it's not selling. You see it says not selling. Very easy. We can also make it we can change it. We can, set it to on market, okay? We can even do something like this. We can start edit workflow, make changes, status not selling, and we can do that only if, it's not selling. So we can change not selling to status to make it the inverse of that if you want. So we can make it not selling only when status is selling. And when status is not selling, we could make it selling. So that's a little bit of an advanced functionality that you can implement later on. All right, so now we have this. Now we have this status. This is buying. And let's say they are browsing the main page. A buyer comes in. They are browsing the main page. So let's go to the index. And they want to buy the car, okay? So we're going to start the workflow, make changes. So it makes changes. It says status to inquiry. And now that once they do that from the main page, that car should appear in the dashboard, okay? And so let's do that. Do we have that working? Let's see if we have that working properly. And so we are going to go to the main page here. We are on the main page. We're going to click buy car. The buy inquiry has been forwarded to the seller, and then we remove it here. Now, if we go to the dashboard, if we choose dashboard here, you should see that car listings in the buyers. It is not, because we forgot to add it to the buyers event. So we take it. So if we go to the index and the buy car is clicked, we also need to add that car to the buyers list of cars. So what we need to do is we need to say data, make changes to think. We are going to say this is going to be current user, make changes. We're going to set buy, and this is going to be add, and this is going to be current sales listing. Now we are interested in it, and now this is what it's going to do. And we want to show alert later on. So we want this element action, show alert. show message in an alert box, alert, and it's gonna say, we're gonna change the alert message, your inquiry has been sent to the buyer. And now once we click buy, it should display it on the dashboard. And so let's say we're gonna preview the dashboard, see what's going on inside the dashboard. And so let's go, we have this here. So let's say this is selling right now. This is selling and it's not selling. So we're gonna set it to selling. We're gonna add another button so we can manipulate it. So we are gonna go in here. We are gonna set this. So I'm just gonna make it a little bit smaller. We're gonna put this. This is gonna be off. I'm just gonna make it off. Very simple. And I'm going to, we're going to make this on. So that we can manipulate it inside the UI. And so we're going to start workflow, button on is clicked. It's going to data, make changes to thing, make changes to a thing to change. Did we do it correctly? No, we did not do it correctly. That's why it's not showing up. And now it's going to show up properly. Now we can click on it, start edit workflow, make changes to thing. Now we can current sales listing, and we are going to set the status to selling. Okay, they decided they don't want to sell. Now they decided to sell it. And now we're going to go to our dashboard. We are going to preview it. And now we should be able to set that car back on. So we're going to click on. Now it's selling here, okay? And so now that it's selling, we should be able to see it on the main page. So if we click on this, this is going to lead to the main page here. And now this car is back on the market. So if I click on buy, it removes it from the main page. But if I go to the dashboard, here's the dashboard. We're going to load up the dashboard. I should see it here. And so here it is, inquiry. And now I am, I'm both the seller and the buyer for that specific car. And we have, on the buyers, we have it, we can cancel it. And when we can do cancel, it's going to go back to selling. So let's quickly do that. We're here. We're going to click on cancel. We're going to click in action. We're going to make changes to the thing. Change current sales listing. We are going to set status to selling. It's no longer inquiry, selling. Okay, we have that. And then that's it. It's a dashboard. We don't need to redirect them anywhere. And so if we refresh the dashboard, you are going to see that now we're going to click cancel and now it's selling. Actually, we need to remove it from the buyers as well. We're going to click on cancel, start edit workflow, make changes. And we are going to data, make changes to a thing. User, current user, change another field. It's going to go into, so they're in the buy. We are going to remove, and we are going to remove the current sales listing. Perfect. Because this one, cancel, is adding it. When they click on buy, it adds it. Now it removes it. So we're going to refresh this. We're going to click on cancel, and that's it. It's removed from this list automatically. So that car is going to be back on the market. So if we go back here, it's back on the market. So I can click on buy again. It has been sent. I can go to the dashboard. So let's go to the dashboard here. And now I have it here. It's inquiry. There's all this logic. You can take it off the market, put it on the market. Obviously, you don't want this button to be off the market when it's in the process of inquiry, because now somebody's interested in. But in the buyer's side, we have it here. I could put cancel, and now it's back selling. It's going to be visible on the main page, and I can edit it. I can change everything that I need to change. I could take it off the market. I could do. So let's go back. I can off. Now it's not selling, so it should not be listed on the main page. It is not, because we're only listing the listings that have the status of selling. And now if I put it to on, it should be back here on the main page. Okay, now it's here. Now people can view it. Now, people can log in, create an account. and all that. And so now we have the basic flow of how this marketplace is going to work. Obviously, there's a lot of more things that you need to do. You need to kind of modify. I have here eBay, which is kind of what the marketplace is about, but you need to modify a bunch of things. You need to maybe display other fields. You need to change the flow, how it works on the dashboard, the fact that you cannot take it off the market. When it's in the inquiry state, you should not even be displaying buttons. So there's a lot of things that you need to do if you want to get to version 1.0. But right now we have a minimum viable product. We have something that's working, and it took us only a couple of hours to do. And this is all possible with Bubble. You can pretty much build any kind of app using this system. And that is all I have in this video. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Try it out. Let me know if you have any issues. Let me know if you're not sure about anything. I answer all questions. Would love to help you out. And like this video if you enjoyed this content. I would really appreciate it. Leave a comment too. I would really appreciate that as well. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because on this channel we're all about no code. We're all about building apps without having a technical background or a computer science degree. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought about it. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.